Welcome to the second demonstration video of the AdSense tutorial series. I wanted to give you a walkthrough of how to create a basic ad because often that's the most pressing thing that people want to learn at first. So I'm going to show you how to make an ad that looks like this. And what we're going to do is you log into your account. And here's, the basics of my account. I'm going to go into My Ads, and what we want to do is create a new ad unit. And so we will talk about naming conventions in detail. You really need to have a system for how you name your both your ads and your channels in order to keep track of things and be able to do effective testing. For my sites, I have always named the ad units the same as whatever channel they are. It just makes things enormously simple. But we'll talk about the different strategies for naming conventions. There are two basic systems that people use, and they both have their pros and cons. But so let's say I want to start with the name of the site, and I'm going to pretend that it's a small business site, and then the next thing I'm going to do is name it according to the size. And what we want is a 468 by 60, and so it's going to be small biz 468. And then the next thing to do is to include specifics about the link color, the typeface, and the size. So the next thing to do is and these are shortages. This is shortened versions of this. This is blue title, gray text, and blue U. And I use those for all my ads. That's the convention I use. You can get pretty much any color into these three characters. I use the TIT just to keep things clear, and I always do them in this order. So it's always title first, then text first, then the URL color, and which is blue. And this is the standard default blue link color. You can play around with that a little if you want to in your testing, but it's a good place to start. People intuitively know now that that color blue means that it's clickable. And so we've got the name of the site so we can find it quickly. This is really critical if you've got more than one site. We've got the ad size, and we've got all the specifics on what the colors are and what the typeface is. Actually, I have not included the typeface, but let's say I was testing, and so this is a typewriter typeface. I'm going to go down to custom settings here, and you can see I've got the title, which is blue. Text is black, which is good. Actually, this text is not black. This text is a little bit gray, and that's a common technique. So we're going to go in here and click on that, and we'll be able to see it once it goes up. The URL, I always just copy those because I want it the same size. The corner style does not matter because our border is going to be white. You always want a white border, except if you're testing a special situation. But 98% of the time you're going to want a white border. And here we have Arial, Verdana, and Times, and that is Times, and it'll show you what that looks like. And then the default font size. I don't do the default font size. I generally start out with a medium, but again, this is something you should test. So because we don't know, because we don't have a default for this site, I'm going to say Times medium top. And so this will let me know all the settings that are down here. That can be really easy because when you're testing later, If you can't immediately tell by the name of the ad unit what ad block you're looking at, it gets very confusing. Medium, I will know, is the typeface, and top just refers to a general placement on the page. I also use a lot of logo right if you're got an ad right next to your logo, but you'll come up with your own conventions that work well. But top, MID can stand for middle, and BOT can stand for bottom. You also note that I do not use underline spaces between these because this field is limited, and we want to keep things as tight as possible. What we're also going to do here is, now that we've got our banner, we're going to start out with text and image-rich ads. Again, this is something you would test later, of whether you want text and image, or just text or just image. And you don't really need to use that because we're going to do a good enough job with our tagging that we don't have to worry about backup ads appearing. And we're going to copy this and create a new custom channel. It is really important to create a custom channel for every ad unit you run. Otherwise, you will be working in the dark later on, and you won't know what ads are working and which ones aren't. So we've got all our settings, and now we go down to Save and Get Code. And that's the code that you're going to place on your website. So you would copy that and then paste it into your HTML. We'll go into a completely separate tutorial about how to put it on your page. And the other thing to note is that if you're doing this ahead of watching that video and you put your code up and you don't see it immediately, do not panic. It takes anywhere from 2 to even 20 minutes in worst case scenario for the AdSense system to kind of catch up with the newly created ads. And so you will have to sometimes wait a couple minutes to see your ads show up. But that's how we create an ad, and any more information belongs in a new video.